Islamic environmentalism, often called Green Deen, is rooted in the idea that the earth is a sacred trust. Muslim scholars derive their environmental framework from the Quran and Sunnah, traditions of the Prophet Muhammad, focusing on the interconnectedness of nature, humanity, and the divine. Breakdown of the core principles that define the views of Muslim scholars on the environment. Tawheed Ness. This is the central concept of the unity of God. Scholars argue that because God is one, his creation is a unified whole. To damage the environment is to disrupt the balance of God's handiwork. Khalifa. Humans are viewed not as masters of the earth, but as khalifas, trustees, guardians. The world is beautiful and verdant, and verily God, be he exalted, has made you his stewards in it. Hadith Sahih Muslim. Amana, trust. The earth is an amana, a trust given to humanity. We do not own it. We are simply borrowing it from future generations and God. Mizan. The Quran mentions that God created the universe in a state of perfect equilibrium. Scholars warn that human greed leads to fasad, corruption, mischief on earth, which breaks this balance. Water and resource management. Water is considered a gift from God and a source of all life. Muslim scholars frequently cite the Prophet's prohibition of wasting water, even when performing ritual ablutions, wudu by a flowing river. Public ownership. Historically, Islamic law, Sharia, views water, pasture, and fire, energy as communal resources. Harim and Hima zones. Scholars point to the ancient Islamic practices of Hima, protected zones for wildlife and forestry, and Harim, protected areas around water sources, as early models for modern national parks and conservation areas. Animal welfare and biodiversity. Scholars emphasize that animals are communities like you, Quran 6:38. Prophetic precedent. Many scholars reference the Prophet's instructions to plant trees as an act of charity, sadaqah, and his kindness toward animals as a religious obligation. Refutation of anthropocentrism. While humans have a special status, scholars argue this status is one of service, not exploitation. Animals have their own rights to existence and protection from cruelty. Key contemporary voices and organizations. Scholar Entity Contribution. The Islamic Declaration on Global Climate Change, 2015. A landmark document signed by international Muslim scholars calling for a rapid shift to renewable energy. The concept of zuhd, asceticism, moderation. A major theme in Islamic environmental thought is the critique of consumerism. Scholars promote iqtisad, moderation. The Quranic injunction, eat and drink, but waste not by excess, 731, is the foundation for an anti-waste lifestyle. The goal is to live lightly on the earth, prioritizing spiritual growth over material accumulation. References for further reading. The Green Deen, What Islam Teaches About Protecting the Planet by Ibrahim Abdul Mateen. Environmentalism in the Muslim World by Richard C. Foltz. The Quranic Foundation of Environmental Ethics, various scholarly journals. Imam al-Ghazali, 1058-1111 CE, known as Hujjat al-Islam, the Proof of Islam, provides a profound spiritual layer to environmentalism. His views are primarily found in his magnum opus, Ihya Ulum al-Din, the Revival of the Religious Sciences, and his work on eco-Sufism. To al-Ghazali, the environment is not just a physical resource. It is a mirror reflecting divine attributes. Imam al-Ghazali's Eco-Sufism. Al-Ghazali's approach moves beyond green laws and focuses on the inner state of the human soul. Nature as a spiritual reality. Al-Ghazali argued that everything in the universe, from the stars to insects, exists in a state of constant tasbih glorification of God. To destroy nature needlessly is to silence a voice that is praising the Creator. The world as an oasis. He famously used the metaphor of a traveler at an oasis. If the traveler becomes obsessed with the oasis, the world, and hoards its resources, they will never reach their true destination, the hereafter. This forms the basis for sustainable consumption. The ethics of interconnectedness. He taught that all creatures must be in harmony to achieve environmental harmonization. In his view, a person's relationship with God is directly reflected in their treatment of God's dependents. animals, and plants. Modern legal rulings, fatwas. While Al-Ghazali provided the spiritual why, modern scholars and bodies have issued specific how rulings to address 21st century crisis.